1. The strategic solitude. Picture this. It's Friday night. The ordinary man is panicking because he has no plans. He's frantically texting everyone, scrolling through Instagram stories, feeling that anxiety of missing out. He'd rather spend time with people he doesn't like than be alone. The Sigma man. He's working on a project at the gym or reading a book that expands his mind. He's not alone because he has to be. He chose it. The ordinary man sees solitude as punishment. The Sigma man sees it as fuel. While others drain energy in meaningless interactions, the Sigma man invests time in deep work and building something meaningful. Every hour spent entertaining people who add no value is an hour stolen from his potential. Here's the difference. Two men, both 25. The ordinary man spends 5 years at bars and parties, knowing hundreds of people but going nowhere. The Sigma man spends those years learning, building, creating. 5 years later, one is still in the same position. The other is financially independent, physically elite, and surrounded by high-value individuals. That's the compound interest of strategic solitude. Strategic solitude isn't about being a hermit. It's about being intentional. The Sigma man guards his attention like treasure. He'll spend time with people who challenge and inspire him, but won't waste a minute on drama or small talk just to avoid being alone. The ordinary man is terrified of his own thoughts. The Sigma man has built such a rich inner world that solitude feels like coming home. 2. The self-validation mindset. The ordinary man wakes up and immediately checks his phone. How many likes? How many comments? Did anyone notice him? His entire sense of worth depends on external feedback. He's like a puppet, and society holds the strings. The Sigma man wakes up and asks himself one question. Did I become better than I was yesterday? That's it. No apps, no validation loops, no desperate need for approval. Here's the brutal truth. Most men are validation junkies. They post something online and refresh obsessively, waiting for that dopamine hit. They make decisions based on what will impress others, not what serves their goals. They buy things they don't need to impress people they don't like. The Sigma man has cut those strings. His validation comes from his own standards, his own progress, his own vision. Think about how the ordinary man makes decisions. He wants to start a business but worries what people will think if he fails. He wants to pursue a passion but fears judgment. He stays in a job he hates because it has a title that sounds impressive. Every choice is filtered through what will others think. The Sigma man asks, does this move me closer to my goals? That's the only filter that matters. The shift happens when you realize that most people are too busy worrying about themselves to think about you. That co-worker who you think is judging your choices, he's worried about his own problems. That friend who might mock your ambitions, he's dealing with his own insecurities. The audience you think is watching your every move, they're not even paying attention. Once you internalize this, you're free. Self-validation isn't arrogance, it's freedom. The ordinary man needs constant reassurance that he's on the right path. The Sigma man trusts his own compass. He sets internal standards and measures himself against them. Did he work out today? Did he learn something new? Did he move his projects forward? Yes? Then it was a good day, regardless of what anyone else thinks. 3. The rejection of social hierarchies. Walk into any office, any gym, any social gathering, and you'll see it immediately. The hierarchy. The ordinary man is obsessed with it. Where does he rank? Who's above him? Who's below him? He's constantly jockeying for position, trying to climb the ladder, seeking approval from those above while looking down on those below. It's exhausting, and it's exactly what keeps him ordinary. The Sigma man looks at that same hierarchy and thinks, I don't play this game. He's not trying to be the alpha of the group. He's building his own kingdom. While others fight for scraps of status within existing systems, he's creating his own system where he makes the rules. The ordinary man wants a seat at the table. The Sigma man builds his own table. Here's a perfect example. Corporate environments. The ordinary man plays politics, sucks up to bosses, competes with colleagues for promotions. He measures success by titles and corner offices. The Sigma man? He's either excelling so undeniably that promotions come without politics, or he's using that job to build skills and capital to launch his own venture. He's never emotionally invested in the hierarchy because he knows it's temporary. Social hierarchies exist to control people. They work because most men are terrified of being at the bottom, so they'll do anything to climb. They'll compromise their values, betray their authenticity, waste years chasing positions that don't matter. The Sigma man sees through this game. He understands that real power doesn't come from your position in someone else's hierarchy. It comes from building something valuable that stands on its own. The ordinary man needs the hierarchy because it tells him who he is. Remove it, and he's lost. The Sigma man knows exactly who he is, regardless of any external structure. He's defined by his competence, his character, and his accomplishments, not by his rank in a system someone else created. 4. The brutal honesty principle. The ordinary man is a professional liar, not in the malicious sense, but in the cowardly sense. He lies by omission, by agreement, by silence. Someone shares a bad idea. He nods along. A friend is making a terrible decision. He stays quiet to avoid conflict. His boss is wrong. He agrees to keep his job safe. He's traded his integrity for comfort, and it's killing him slowly. The Sigma man operates on brutal honesty, with others and especially with himself. When someone asks his opinion, they get the truth, delivered respectfully but unfiltered. When he sees a problem, he addresses it directly. When he makes a mistake, he owns it immediately. This isn't about being rude or insensitive. It's about respecting people enough to give them reality instead of comfortable lies. Here's why this matters. Every time the ordinary man lies or stays silent to avoid discomfort, he loses a piece of himself. He becomes a chameleon, changing colors to match whatever room he's in. Over years, he forgets who he actually is underneath all those masks. The Sigma man maintains his integrity by staying honest, even when it costs him. He'd rather lose opportunities than lose himself. Brutal honesty also applies to self-assessment. The ordinary man lies to himself constantly. I'll start tomorrow. I'm doing fine. That problem isn't that serious. He's an expert at self-deception because facing the truth is uncomfortable. The Sigma man looks in the mirror and sees reality, the extra weight, the wasted potential, the excuses. And instead of lying to make himself feel better, he uses that truth as fuel to change. People respect brutal honesty even when they don't like what they're hearing. The ordinary man thinks people-pleasing builds relationships. It doesn't. It builds resentment and superficiality. The Sigma man's honesty creates real trust. People know exactly where they stand with him. No games, no manipulation, no hidden agendas. That's rare and valuable. 5. The outcome independence. The ordinary man is attached to outcomes like his life depends on them. He asks a woman out, and if she says no, he's devastated. He launches a project, and if it fails, he quits. He applies for a job, and if rejected, he questions his worth. Every outcome is a referendum on his value as a person. This attachment cripples him, making him afraid to try anything where success isn't guaranteed. The Sigma man is outcome independent. He takes action because it aligns with his goals, regardless of the specific result. Ask a woman out and she says no? No problem. He was going to be fine either way. Launch a business that fails? Good. He learned what doesn't work. Get rejected from an opportunity? Perfect. It wasn't meant for him. He's detached from needing any specific outcome because his self-worth isn't on the line. This mindset is pure freedom. When you're not attached to outcomes, you can take massive action without fear. The ordinary man overthinks everything because so much is riding on each decision. The Sigma man moves quickly because he knows that whatever happens, he'll handle it and learn from it. One is paralyzed by possibility. The other is energized by it. Outcome independence also makes you more effective. When you desperately need something, a job, a relationship, a deal, people smell that desperation. It repels them. When you're genuinely fine either way, you operate from a position of strength. You negotiate better, communicate clearer, and make smarter decisions because you're not emotionally compromised by need. The paradox? The less you need specific outcomes, the more likely you are to get them. The ordinary man's desperation sabotages his results. The Sigma man's detachment creates them. It's not about not caring. It's about caring more about your process and growth than any single result. 6. The silent confidence. The ordinary man is loud about his plans. He tells everyone what he's going to do: start a business, get in shape, learn a new skill, change his life. He posts motivational quotes on social media, announces his goals in group chats, talks endlessly about his future success at dinner parties. Why? Because talking about doing something gives him a hit of validation without actually doing the work. It's a shortcut to feeling accomplished without the messy reality of accomplishment. The problem? Talk is cheap, and deep down, everyone knows it. Watch what happens with the ordinary man's announcements. He declares on January 1st that this is his year, that he's going to transform everything. Friends and family give him encouragement, likes, supportive comments. He feels great for about 48 hours. Then reality hits. The actual work is hard, boring, and nobody's watching. By February, he's back to his old patterns, but now he has to face all those people he told. So he makes excuses, goes quiet about it, or worse, makes another loud announcement about a different goal to distract from the previous failure. The Sigma man operates completely differently. He's silent about his plans and loud with his results. While others are announcing their intentions to anyone who will listen, he's executing in silence. He doesn't tell you he's starting a business. 6 months later, he shows you the launched company generating revenue. He doesn't post gym selfies on day one with captions about his fitness journey. He appears a year later completely transformed, and people wonder what happened. His confidence doesn't need external validation or premature celebration because it's built on actual accomplishment, not intention. This silent confidence is magnetic in a way that loud proclamations can never be. When someone achieves something significant, without fanfare, without seeking attention, without needing applause along the way, it commands a different level of respect. The ordinary man's loud announcements are often compensation for insecurity. He needs you to believe in his potential because he's not sure he believes in it himself. The Sigma man's quiet achievement demonstrates genuine capability. One is trying to convince you he's valuable. The other is showing you through undeniable results. There's also strategic power in operating silently. When you announce your plans to the world, you invite opinions, doubt, and interference. Family members, often with good intentions, tell you why it won't work. Friends, projecting their own limitations, discourage you. Strangers on the internet feel entitled to critique your approach. Even worse, you've now created external pressure and expectations that can actually hinder your progress. The Sigma man avoids this entire mess by keeping his ambitions private until they become reality. Then nobody can stop him because it's already done. There's nothing to debate, nothing to discourage, only results to acknowledge. Let me give you a concrete example. Two men decide they want to write a book. The ordinary man announces it on social media. "I'm writing a book, always been my dream, can't wait to share it with you all." He gets 100 likes and feels like an author already, but now he's created pressure. Every time someone asks, "How's the book going?" and he hasn't made progress, he feels shame. Every time he sits down to write, he's thinking about what people will think instead of what he needs to say. The book becomes about external validation rather than his authentic vision. The Sigma man decides to write a book and tells nobody except perhaps a mentor or accountability partner. He writes daily, struggles through the hard parts, rewrites sections, questions himself privately but keeps going because he's doing it for himself, not for likes or validation. 18 months later, he hands you a published book. He didn't announce it, he completed it. That's the difference. One is seeking validation for the journey. The other is focused on reaching the destination. Silent confidence also means not defending yourself unnecessarily. The ordinary man feels compelled to explain himself constantly, to justify his choices, to argue with critics, to prove himself to people who don't matter. Someone questions his business model, he writes a lengthy defense. Someone doubts his capabilities, he lists all his qualifications. Someone criticizes his approach, he engages in a pointless debate. He's exhausting himself trying to convince everyone he's on the right path. The Sigma man lets his results speak for themselves. Someone questions his methods. His success answers the question. Someone doubts his capabilities. His track record responds. Someone criticizes his unconventional approach. His results shut down the conversation. He understands that trying to defend yourself to people who are determined to doubt you is like trying to teach a pig to sing. It wastes your time and annoys the pig. He conserves his energy for building rather than defending, for creating rather than explaining. This doesn't mean the Sigma man is secretive or dishonest. If someone genuinely wants to learn from him, if someone is truly interested in collaboration, if someone asks thoughtful questions from a place of respect, he'll share insights. But he's selective. He doesn't cast his pearls before swine. He doesn't waste his wisdom on people who just want to tear him down or who are looking for reasons why his success won't apply to them. Here's the beautiful paradox of silent confidence. The less you talk about what you're building, the more people become intrigued when they see the results. The ordinary man's constant updates create announcement fatigue. People stop caring because they've heard it all before and seen no results. The Sigma man's silence creates mystery and anticipation. When he finally reveals what he's built, people are genuinely impressed because they didn't see it coming. They can't dismiss it as hype because he never hyped it, he just delivered. Silent confidence also protects your energy and focus. Every time you talk about your goals, you're releasing a little bit of the energy you need to achieve them. Psychologists have actually studied this. When you announce your intentions, your brain gets a premature sense of completion, making you less likely to follow through. The Sigma man intuitively understands this. He keeps his goals close, protecting them like seeds that need darkness and silence to germinate before they can break through into the light. This principle extends beyond just goals and achievements. It's a whole way of being. The Sigma man doesn't need to be the loudest voice in the room. He doesn't need to dominate conversations or make sure everyone knows his opinions. He's comfortable with strategic silence, speaking only when he has something valuable to add. And when he does speak, people listen because he's earned that attention through consistent competence, not demanded it through volume. The ordinary man mistakes silence for weakness or lack of confidence. He thinks you need to constantly assert yourself, remind people of your value, defend your territory. The Sigma man knows that real confidence is quiet. It doesn't need to announce itself. It doesn't need external validation. It simply exists, evident in every action, visible in every result, undeniable in its consistency. 7. The emotional self-mastery. The ordinary man is ruled by his emotions. He's reactive, Someone cuts him off in traffic and he's furious for an hour. Someone criticizes him and he's crushed for a day. Someone succeeds while he struggles and he's bitter for a week. His emotions are a wild horse and he's just holding on, getting dragged wherever they go. This emotional instability keeps him weak, distracted, and perpetually off balance. The Sigma man has achieved emotional self-mastery. He feels emotions. He's not a robot, but they don't control him. He experiences anger, but doesn't act on it impulsively. He feels fear, but moves forward anyway. He notices jealousy, but transforms it into motivation. His emotions are information, not commands. They're like weather. He acknowledges them, but they don't determine his direction. This mastery comes from practice and awareness. The ordinary man isn't even conscious of his emotional patterns. He just reacts, blames external circumstances, and repeats the cycle. The Sigma man observes his emotional responses like a scientist. He notices triggers, identifies patterns, and consciously chooses his responses. Over time, this creates an incredible advantage. He's making strategic decisions while others are having emotional meltdowns. Emotional self-mastery is especially critical in high-pressure situations. When a business deal goes wrong, when a relationship ends, when unexpected problems arise, this is where men reveal who they really are. The ordinary man panics, makes reactive decisions, says things he regrets. The Sigma man stays calm, assesses the situation objectively, and responds strategically. This composure alone sets him apart from 95% of men. The ultimate goal isn't to eliminate emotions, it's to integrate them intelligently. The Sigma man uses emotional energy as fuel rather than letting it burn him down. He channels anger into productive action. He transforms fear into careful preparation. He converts sadness into introspection and growth. Every emotion becomes a tool rather than a weapon against himself. That's mastery, and it's the final piece that separates the Sigma man from everyone else. The difference between a Sigma man and an ordinary man isn't about genetics, luck, or circumstances. It's about conscious choices made every single day. It's about choosing strategic solitude over mindless socializing, self-validation over external approval, honesty over people-pleasing, and emotional mastery over reactive behavior. While the ordinary man is still trying to figure out which social ladder to climb, the Sigma man has already built his own mountain. Here's what you need to understand. Becoming a Sigma man isn't an overnight transformation. It's a deliberate rewiring of your psychology, your habits, and your entire approach to life. Every chapter we've explored today represents a battlefield where you must fight against years of social conditioning that taught you to fit in, to seek approval, and to follow the crowd. But the moment you start implementing these principles, the moment you choose strategic solitude over toxic company, the moment you stop seeking validation from people who don't matter, the moment you embrace brutal honesty even when it's uncomfortable, that's when everything changes. The ordinary man will watch this video and forget it tomorrow. The Sigma man will watch it, internalize it, and start implementing it tonight. Which one are you going to be? If you're serious about this transformation, if you're committed to becoming a man who operates on a different level, then subscribe to this channel right now. Don't just consume this content, become it. We're building a community of men who refuse to be ordinary, who reject mediocrity, and who understand that true power comes from within. Hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and let's continue this journey together. Your future self will thank you for the decision you make right here, right now.